the tales.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where we talk about the fucking X-Men, Gary. That's what we're here to do. I'm talking
They're
Wolverine.
back,
I'm talking Psylocke. I'm talking genocide. That's an X-Man.
Yeah. Gary got the top three.
Wild Child.
Wild Child. All the best X-Mans. Dark Beast.
Magneto with a beard that's tied into a little ponytail. Don't like that, but we're here to talk about it. We're going to do it.
He loves to do that in alternate universes. He just lets his hair down.
It's just, no, he does
what
it.
about
That's
Charles
the thing.
Xavier dying makes him want to wear a braid?
Isn't that so strange?
Yeah, like at some point in the past in Israel, he tried it, and Charles Xavier was like, I don't know, Eric. And then that just stopped him for eternity from ever doing it.
Looking like a douche, Eric.
Eric?
Are you a magician or a
Pretty
mutant?
cool, Eric. Just sarcastically, oh, you look great. And then it just destroyed Magneto. And then now in a world without Charles Xavier, he can braid to his heart's content.
Yeah, the real secret power of Magneto's helmet is it stops Xavier's passive aggressive comments about his appearance.
Yeah, it's constant criticism of him.
Oh, is that what you're wearing, Eric? It looks okay.
God damn it, Charles. the braids of the future, Charles. Not bald. Yeah, it's good to be back. It's been a minute.
It has been a while. Thank you,
Since we
everybody,
recorded.
for being super patient. I had COVID, and then I was gone for 2 weeks. Thank you, Gary, for filling in with a very hilarious Gambit episode. I appreciate y'all being patient with me. And now I'm back, and I don't have COVID, and I don't have to go to Chicago for 2 weeks and eat hospital food for almost every day, which is... Boy, Gary, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I got really excited one day because it was Barbecue Wednesday. And then I had the barbecue, and I literally just was like, this is inedible. I can't do it. I can't eat this. This is bad.
Ceased to be excited.
Oof. It was something else, my man. But we're back, and we're going to be talking about more Uncanny X-Force.
The Dark Angel saga.
Yeah.
It actually worked out really well with us doing 3 episodes last time we recorded, because we didn't do the first episode of the saga and then take an entire month off.
It's going to work really good.
Yeah.
So to catch everybody up, we're dealing with kind of a side team of the X-Men that Wolverine is running to basically, it's an assassination squad. They're killing problems instead of talking about problems. We've got some bad news though, because Warren Worthington, aka Angel, aka Archangel, has now been taken over by Apocalypse. Yeah, so he is on his way to turning into Apocalypse, because our Apocalypse has died. And there's a bunch of lore in that if you want to hear about, you can go, I assume, listen to the last episode. That was such a fucking fever dream for me, man. Like, I don't even...
we talked about the setup and stuff.
Yeah, I thought we did
in that episode. Yeah. And this is what they're doing is they found, they went and checked in with the Dark Beast and broke him out of prison, because he knows where they might be able to find a life seed, or he knows how to counteract what's happening to Angel. It's a life seed, but we have to go back to the Age of Apocalypse for it.
Yes.
One of the things I really like about the Rick Remender run about this is that it's real fun with alternate universes. It's such a sub theme of X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
It's racial tensions, like racial metaphor, and then space is a thing for some reason. Alternate universes are a huge thing with the X-Men.
Yes.
Alternate
universes.
It's fun to revisit.
And time travel, and some form of combination sometimes, which is always another great time. I'm watching a time travel show on Netflix right now called Dark, which I'm sure you may have heard of. And it's rare, in the X-Men, everybody wears these outlandish costumes. So if they're in fucking $27.99, that's Wolverine. Like even if it's $27.99 Wolverine, he's got 3 claws and maybe 1 arm or whatever. But that's Wolverine, I could tell. In the TV show Dark, it's set in 1953 1986 and then 2019, and it's all in Germany. So it's a bunch of German-looking dudes being Germans, and I'm like, I've got to get a fucking like family tree chart out to track this. I am so confused. What I'm saying is the X-Men are better time travel than anything else.
The Germans should probably dress like Wolverine to keep it clear.
God, it would make that show so much more fun. I'm going to be honest with you, and it's already pretty fucking fun. if you threw Wolverine in there, I'd be having a great time.
It'd make me want to go to Germany.
Yeah,
everybody's dressed like Wolverine.
Do you do you have any desire to go to Germany? Like I'm sure I'm gonna piss off some Germans here, but like that's one of the countries where I'd be like, yeah, I mean, if you're
paying for it,
yeah, if it's on the way, that's kind of on the way to like all the good ones, right? Like we can make a stop.
I think Germany seems like I'd vibe with it.
Yeah,
like the culture now, like they're very nice. You know, they're very like I think about the later or the mid seasons of Better Call Saul. Like that architect they brought in.
God, we're making.
Like I want to be friends with that guy.
I'm gonna pull up our what percentage of our audience is in Germany, so we can just tell how many people we're pissing off right now.
I'm not making anybody mad. Viva Germany. No, I think it seems cool. Like I think it'd be a cool culture, like a good cultural fit for me. It's up there for me.
Yeah, there you go. 1 out of 2 ain't bad. You got half the podcast to go into Germany.
We'll have to see. We'll have to do a Cole tiebreaker.
Oh yeah, and then Will is the wild card.
Yeah, and Cole's like, I don't want to leave Ohio, and it's like, well, I guess
Cole's response is not even if you're paying for it.
Yeah, indecisive. So we're talking about Uncanny X-Force number 11. Really cool cover. It does spoil what's going to happen. Yes. You know, that we're going to have the Age of Apocalypse X-Men fighting our X-Force team. But like, you know, put me in, coach. That's awesome. Yeah. I want that.
The only bummer about this is I think that we don't ever actually see Rachel Summers in the comic book. Like I saw her on the cover and I was like,
no, that's Jean Grey.
Is that supposed
short-haired Jean Grey?
Because I thought with the scar with the tattoo on her face that was
No,
okay.
That's Jean in the because Professor Xavier died. Nobody was around to give her bad comments about her pixie cut.
Okay, sure.
So yeah, she's got that hair at the end when she's revealed.
Fucking Xavier, man, awful person.
I love that we unlocked it. He's just like a fashionista, and that's why everyone dresses different dimensions. You know?
So we're gonna start out. They have freed Dark Beast from his prison sentence, and they are going to teleport into the Age of Apocalypse to get a life seed, which is like the antithesis of Apocalypse. It's a celestial thing. For more of that stuff, just go watch The Eternals, the hit MCU movie from 2020.
Yeah. Just watch it a few times to make sure you
yeah. Watch all 2.5 hours of that to see what's up.
And I love this this story arc. I will say that it gets a little like mumbo jumbo-y in terms of like life seeds and death seeds and competing forces, like what the Eternals want with the world versus what Phoenix wants with the world and stuff like that. You don't have to really care too much about it. Like, or you can. I'm here for the character stuff.
Yes.
Like this, to me, this team specifically with its kind of grounded nature feels like they're being buffeted by this extra cosmic stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to exist in that space.
I am
like
along
Wolverine
for the ride.
even says like this narration in the beginning where he's like, yep, Age of Apocalypse, we got to go get a thing that's going to fix war, and so we're going to go get the doodad. You know?
Yeah, I'm just okay with like, and I'm sure like lore nerds are all into this, and I'm happy for them, and I think that Remender writes this stuff in such a way as to like fold in neatly with like previous stuff, and that's great. But I just don't care about it very much. Like if you could substitute Life Seed for Daniel Craig, and I would just not even bat an eye at it. It'd be like,
Daniel Craig seed.
They got to go get the Daniel Craig seed. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. Let's go. It's Age of Apocalypse.
Got to make little Craiglets. Yeah. They're all going through and they're bantering, and this is because they're nervous. Like this is a scary thing they're doing, and they talk about that later. Like they're teaming up with this really awful villain to do this very scary thing. They got their portal open. They got 3 hours to get in. And we have not seen the Age of Apocalypse at this point. This is post the Age of Apocalypse we covered. This is after Apocalypse, after Mr. Sinister made a play, which was in a follow-up miniseries, if I remember. This is after all that. So this is the most recent Age of Apocalypse stuff we've seen.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's awful. It's even worse than it usually is.
Yeah, it's almost 10 years after the events, and they jump in, and everybody looks like dead. Like there's been a lot of human culling. This just looks like a trash town. Like this is Fallout, 79 or whatever you want to call it, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. They get up. When they get in, they try to get up high so they can find their lab, and you get to see the whole spread of the city. There are these sentinel blimps, like blimps with sentinels on the bottom instead of cargo, or like instead of a passenger area. Which I love.
I love that.
And this huge, just kind of floating city above a building. That's going to be where the lab is.
Yep.
Where they're going to go, or where they're going to go in the end. I think they go to a lab that's somewhere different, but they're basically trying to find the lab because that's where the life seed is.
Unbeknownst to them, they are being spied on by one wild child. Or is that's Sabretooth or Wild Child?
I think that's Wild Child.
That's Wild Child, yeah.
That's a little guy. I don't have Twitter, so I can't do tweets now.
That
one
is
of the
how
things
that
I was
works.
thinking about. So there's the movie Little Women.
Mm-hmm.
The sequel to that, the next book she wrote is called Little Men. And I think it'd be very funny if Little Women was about, dowagers and politeness in 1800s society, what it's like to be a woman. And Little Men was just about creepy little guys like Wild Child.
Wild Child.
Like this little feral, like,
Toad, Igor,
Gremlins,
that kind of dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a group of them, all doing little guy things, doing little goblin mode stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Little gremlins. They're getting spied. That might be Sabretooth, actually. He's just looking thin in the face. They pass by a breadline, basically, where we get a little information here. This is foreshadowing. It's still Apocalypse of some type is still in charge because they're talking about Akaba there, which is the religious order as Apocalypse. And their version of kind of stormtroopers in this are dressed up like samurai.
Yes.
This initially seems like a non sequitur, but we'll find out who the grand weeb behind this is.
The grand weeb.
Yes.
The call is coming from inside the house, Gary. We all know it's you. Your secret weeb can't hide from us anymore.
There's nothing I love more than samurai. They're just, beating up an old woman. Of course, the X-Men step in and stop them on their way into this lab.
Yep. Which, of course, still recognizes Hank McCoy. And as we go in, we greeted with the classic, like, dudes in glass jars, which is always super exciting. We're about to get, like, a deep lore dive as we see there are these giant paintings of the Age of Apocalypse teams. So we've got, long-haired Scott Summers and Dark Beast and Mr. Sinister all standing with Apocalypse. And I love the fact that Deadpool just jumps in and is like, no, we're good. Let's just get the thing and let's leave.
Yeah, none of this stuff's real. I also like, man, it sucks that all your guys in jars died. Like it's this. I like this version of Deadpool. He basically says, "Get to it." Dark Beast pulls out the life seed, which looks like something you would get for pre-ordering Death Stranding.
Yes,
like it just looks like a little tiny plastic doodad. But who teleports in? But Age of Apocalypse Nightcrawler.
Yay.
With the cool swords. Yay.
Nightcrawler is dead in the current timeline. So when Wolverine sees Nightcrawler, he is immediately assaulted by grief and complicated feelings because him and Nightcrawler were boys, and in certain corners of the internet, they were more than men together.
Yes. Yeah. It's and Nightcrawler is taken as well because he wasn't friends with this version of Wolverine super tight or anything, but he knew him. So they're both just like, oh my god, this is weird. Until Nightcrawler realizes Wolverine still has his hand.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And assumes he's a clone, teleports out with the life seed.
Yep.
So this sucks. They need it.
And they have to chase him down. So Betsy starts doing some psychic tracking. Wolverine divides the team up. He tells Phantomos to go to the rooftops. Tells Deadpool to go to the windows, which I thought was like, okay, what? How many of those exist in this world of the apocalypse?
Yeah.
And while he's going to go down to the street and try to catch some scent, where in fact he does, but it's not the scent that he's looking for. Instead, it is Age of Apocalypse Sabretooth, who's of course super mad at Wolverine, as he always is, and they instantly start fighting almost to the death. We
didn't talk about it earlier. I really like the art in this comic, this specific issue. Like the art on this run is good. They're going to bring back the guy who did Secret Avengers during the AVX stuff, like that guy who I really like. This guy is not, everyone's very muscular. It's not that he's drawing people, with realistic muscles, but they're all stocky, like they all look thick in a way that looks realistic. Like they look strong. They don't look like cartoons.
Yeah.
To me,
you don't mean thick
and
with
they all
two
have,
C's.
they have like weight. They fall down. Like nobody's jumping into the air, doing anime flips and shit. Like every attack has impact for this.
Yeah. And there's like some stuff in the future too, where we've talked about this a lot, where like women look nice without looking like they were drawn by a 13-year-old, right? Like they just look like normal women, normal hot women.
Not a commercial for tits.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, like try tits, try diet tits. It's that kind of thing.
If you liked them small, wait till you see them big.
Yeah. Now tit extreme. This is a superhero misunderstanding fight. You know, the Age of Apocalypse X-Men assume because they were working with Dark Beast, you know, they're assholes, and our X-Men keep trying to kind of explain, but they basically have no time. They have to get that fucking life seed. They're on the clock. They got 3 hours, you know. Up top, Deadpool confronts Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler who killed their version of Deadpool.
Yes.
Deadman Wade, in a comic we talked about several years ago. When we talked about that, he teleported his head off. He does it again.
Yep.
Here.
But this time the head disappears from his hands, and we realize that it's nothing but a little misdirection.
Oh man, the misdirection stuff. In one of the issues coming up, we get to see what the misdirection looks like when it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's really good.
And I like it a lot more than it just being an illusion power. He's just like telling people things.
Yeah, exactly. He's just literally talking to them. Yeah, like whispering in their ear almost. It's very cute. It's
cooler than and finally somebody gets to counter it, which I like. Because it is OP.
Nightcrawler manages to stab Deadpool in the eye, which has to suck no matter what your healing power can do. Wolverine is having trouble defending against both Wildchild and Sabretooth, so has to do the classic 1-2 maneuver of elbowing Wildchild with his in the face and then jabbing Sabretooth in the chest. And that is when all of a sudden Betsy is there to break up the party. And of course, Betsy and this version of Sabretooth have some history together. And he recognizes her almost immediately and tells Wolverine, like, hey, this is not the creed that you know. This is a different creed. Which, like, they spend a lot of time telling us this kind of stuff. Like, there's a lot of this, like, oh, you're not the person I thought. And I'm like, yeah, like, I on our X-Men, you should kind of know you went to a different universe. Of course, it's not the same dude.
Yeah.
Like, don't just assume things. But
it's a little. I understand it a little bit more with Jean and Nightcrawler.
Yeah,
like how it just feels weird for Wolverine. You know, but he could also, he shouldn't be disbelieving it when somebody just tells him.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, they've stopped the fight and everything seems fine, but they drop the life seed and who grabs it but Sunfire. And Sunfire here, first of all, like Age of Apocalypse Sunfire, one of my all-time favorite superhero looks.
Very cool. Very cool.
Just incredible looking. And he's characterized very accurately. Like Sunfire is arrogant and impulsive. You know, and he's just like, I'm going to destroy it. Like, don't do that. Well, the others think, he's like, they'll think I'm right. You know, this is what you're supposed to do. They'll thank me for my prudence. And he blows up the life seed. That was the whole reason they were there. And this sucks. This is bad. But who leaves but Dark Beast?
Yep.
He's like, you know, this is actually way worse. Have a terrible life here. I'm out.
Yeah.
He had double crossed them.
See you guys later. And there's still some tension between the two groups. But there's a bunch of dialogue back and forth. Of course, you know, Wolverine and Sabretooth are going to spar no matter what universe that they are in. But hey, they can't hang out here long because Sentinels are on the way, so they have to go to the hideout. And along the way, we get some more dialogue from all of these characters. Sunfire trying to spread the blame around a little bit of like, well, I didn't know it was a bad thing to be. It's called a life seed.
And also, your thing was hopeless. You can't stop Apocalypse. He'll always rise. And Sabretooth says, you know, you shit the bed, smearing it up isn't going to cover it. You know, which is true.
I like this thing between Elizabeth and Phantom X. I think I called him Phantom Moss earlier, which is just a Mike Patton band. So
it's also the name of the original character it's based on.
Yeah,
like the French thief archetype is Phantom Moss.
Phantom X though is like, hey, because you know Betsy is like, hey, thank you for coming and helping Warren, and he's like, yeah, you know, I'm not doing it for Warren, I'm doing it for you. So
yeah, yep, sweet boy. You know, they're talking about that they're going to their hideout. In this version, they have taken over Atlantis. They've fortified Atlantis to get on there. They're walking around and Nightcrawler's basically like, listen, you know, we don't want this to happen to another dimension. Like, we're still X-Men. right? Like we had this misunderstanding, but we will save your universe. Like you come into other universes and save them. We're still good guys, even though we're, tempered by this dark reality. Let's meet the boss. The boss will know what to do. And they open the door just as Wolverine is thinking like, there's only one person who could fuck me up more than Nightcrawler, Jean. And then who's there but Jean? And Magneto enjoying some like wine and formal wear.
Yeah, just casual wear. Like if this is exactly the kind of dress that I would bring to my secret Atlantis headquarters, like
Christmas party.
I bet this whole thing unzips
yeah.
from the back for like easy removal. You know what I'm saying? Like we can
Yep.
get out of this bad
Yeah.
boy at the. You point me to the bowl of keys. I'll handle the zipper, and we're done. we got this party on lock.
The Iceman storm. Yeah, the where they have this swinging party. It's real weird that they're dressed up like for a Christmas party. To me, I guess Magneto isn't. He's just wearing clothes, but Jean looks dressed up.
Yeah.
To me,
it's also one of those things of the X-Men have that sense of fashion where like, oh, when I was 16 I decided my uniform is green, so now all of my clothes are green for the rest of my life.
No matter where I live, Charles Xavier can't stop that. And this is the big cliffhanger here.
Yes.
It's Jean Grey is still alive, and that's gonna fuck up Wolverine. We cut over to issue 12 here, the cover with Betsy Braddock and Phantom Mouse making out.
Yeah. Great cover. Looking good.
Mm-hmm.
Good
with
job.
fish in the background. Yeah. And again, we have something in a still scantily clad, but not an advertisement for boobs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Psylocke.
It's a good ass, but it is not, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's
here.
not
You guys
suspiciously
you
good.
guys understand. We've talked about this a bunch. So I'm just going to move on before I just make this weird.
Yeah. I love how Professor Xavier dying made fish have kind of human faces in this world.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Look at these little guys.
Angry little dudes that you.
Yeah.
I was thinking the other day, do you think that they could ever pull off, and this is totally out of fucking context of what we're talking about. Do you think they could pull off an underwater area in a Souls game in like Elden Ring or something?
Ooh. That's a good question.
Because they did that. They kind of did that with
Sekiro, kinda.
Yeah, and then they did Immortal Unchained, which had like a weird underwater area that just had like super heavy gravity, so you just walked around instead of swimming. But I don't know. I was trying to think of like how they would pull that off, or if they could, and I don't know. I find it fascinating though.
Yeah, I don't know if this is popular. I don't really like the underwater combat in Sekiro.
Okay,
like the ogre you have to fight underwater. I think that's really awkward. And even that game only barely used it. I think they probably could pull it off, but I think I would want it to be different than that.
Yeah. I hated
the chase sequence in Sekiro is a lot better than the fight sequence.
I hated all of the combat or not all of the combat, all of the underwater combat in Sekiro.
Welcome.
Welcome to Bonfires
Chat.
Much
to discuss. The underwater stuff was no great shakes.
Yeah.
Like it was refreshing not to immediately drown when you hit the water, but yeah, I don't think it's great fighting.
We're going to start this issue out with Wolverine doing what he does, and he's the best at what he does, which is pine over Jean Grey.
Brooding.
And maybe drink a beer, it looks like, where he then just throws it out into, I guess, the water. I don't
into
know
Atlantis. Into like, hey, we don't do that now. We live here, man.
Yeah. This is our base. Like this, Namor is dead. Like we don't. It's not okay to do
There's
this kind
nobody
of
to clean. Yeah. He's basically just recapping the relationship for people who don't know it. And they're a very complicated relationship. Like they had this animal magnetism, but Jean was with Scott. Everyone knew that.
Yeah.
That's just how it was. We had this magnetism, but it could never be.
And I don't know that Wolverine knows this, but of course in this world, Wolverine and Jean were hooked up. Like they were husband and wife.
Yeah.
So he is just kind of sitting there thinking all of those thoughts when who rolls up, but this world's Jean Grey, who has no compunction about reading his mind whatsoever, and he can't stop thinking. This is one of those things of like just a casual fantasy novel written by a man where they just spend a lot of time describing women, where he's like the perfect woman, handmade by God to afflict me, and I'm like, all right, dial this down, Wolverine. What are you doing?
Yeah.
She's talking to you.
Whatever they do, there's just going to be a comic book drawing next to it.
Yeah,
like it's not going to match the thing. I love that bit where he's like, my Jean wasn't casual about reading people's minds. He's like, yeah, how'd that work out for her? Like shit. Dark edgy Jean. they talk about kind of like they're both in the same spot though. Their lover's dead and they're reunited. Like it's a complicated thing. She gives some more exposition and kind of backstory on what's happened there. And Wolverine's basically saying like, it's not easy for me to see you even living in this world. Like in my world, we had a Charles Xavier, so you had longer hair and our world wasn't like this.
Yes.
It was much better. We didn't have this kind of shit.
And she tells of what happened after the Age of Apocalypse, where like they were able to defeat Apocalypse. They were, they defeated Mr. Sinister after that, and then the ship landed in the middle of Manhattan. And this world's Logan and another team went out to like go confront it. Jean held back. She thought it was a dumb idea and nobody returned from it. And that's kind of all the information we get from it. So when you find out that it's just like a celestial ship later, it's kind of out of the fucking middle of nowhere, which I don't know why, because they've been hinting at life seed. Not even hinting. They've been talking about life seeds and all this other stuff for a while. So I don't know why I was surprised to see Celestial show up in this, but I certainly was.
Well, and the big twist about who is now leading
certainly
that group is going to come up, and they don't know this. Like Jean isn't being withholding of this information. She doesn't know it yet. It's going to be revealed to her as well. They've basically just been surviving. They haven't taken it to the ship again.
Yep.
Wolverine says like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry all that happened to you, but I ain't reading that.
Yeah.
I got to get home." And we can't be stuck. Jean's like, "Would that be so bad being stuck with me?" Weird substitute husband popping in. Right? Like it's a weird thing it's the kind of thing that fantasy and comics can do where the person you love dies and another copy of them comes from another dimension.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not the same, but it'd be really hard to, not feel like Yahtzee had an extra life.
Do you think Autumn would be more or less happy with me if I got like someone that was 60% Autumn versus 0% Autumn? You know what I'm saying? Like I wonder where the happiness, like where those line, where the bell curve is on that line, because it's on that graph, because like 20% Autumn is like, okay, well she's a human woman.
Well, 0% Autumn would be like what? Like a Shoggoth,
like
or
a
like
squid,
an alien or something.
Yeah, like I would date a fucking jellyfish. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, I'm like, okay, well this is in Jeremy's wheelhouse, and then like, where does it go from there? Where's that curve?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
But they can't resist it.
They kiss.
They do some makeouts, and she stops in the middle, and she's like, "Oh my god!" And he's like, "Yeah, you're totally right. We shouldn't be doing this. Like, there's a million reasons." She's like, "No. There's just absolutely just one, and it's a giant samurai sitting on that's about to bash the inside of the atrium that they're standing in." And in an unusual kind of thing for the X-Men, Jean doesn't hesitate at all. She powers up, and it's immediately like, "I will protect you," and then just like fucks the Sentinel up. And even tells Logan like, "Hey, it's not because you can't do this. It's just because I can do it way, way faster, and we got to get the fuck out of here because of this."
Yep, time is of the essence. Yep. This is a scout. They find out that the Sentinels have not found their base before.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first one. It means they know they're there. They're going to have to lose this base. So they run back to do a meeting. One of the all-time funniest things that happens in this comic happens here. They show all the remaining X-Men together. They're all meeting. They're all deciding what to do. This character who is new to this, Mariko's daughter, is there, and there's nothing next to her. They're getting ready to do the briefing. When they go back, there's just a sad little MODOK in the background. They're going to explain this and stuff, but it's just so like, I just kept looking like, is he hidden in that first picture? What's
is he just to the side? Like, what is happening? Yeah. The comic books don't do it, and I'm sure you can fill me in on the guy standing next to Mariko's daughter with the giant U on his forehead.
Oh, Silver Samurai?
That is the Silver Samurai. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The fucking horseshoe like that you put above a barn entrance for good luck really threw me on that dude.
He's got a good luck forehead now. Gambit looks different too. He's still wearing the cape, but he's got weird little sunglasses now.
Gambit, the sunglasses and the jaw line really made me think that was
Make
Cyclops.
him look like Cyclops.
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, yeah.
Very funny lineup though, and this character, I don't want to keep calling her Mariko's daughter. What is her actual
It's
name?
like Kariko
Okay.
or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're going to say it in a minute. I can't remember. She is not a very well developed character. She exists to get killed in about 3 pages.
Yeah. If you want to talk about a woman
they
being
don't do right by her.
like this is
they do not do right by this character.
No. So they explain like, oh, this is just MODOK is basically just a supercomputer, like with just a Xavier brain inside of a Cerebro in a mobile environment that can defend itself. Like, and as soon as they explain that, everyone's like, that's not any better than a MODOK.
Yeah,
actually.
this sucks. You guys, this sucks. And just give them cute little arms and legs so we can creep everybody out.
Yeah.
They're talking about how they need the life seed.
Mm-hmm.
There has been intercepted. Referred to our enemy as the heir of Apocalypse, the person they're going to fight as well. They need the life seed. MODOK has tested samples of the seed, and they know the seed can work. It can fight. They found the celestial that McCoy talked about, and it has life seeds in it. It is off in the jungle.
One of the things that Deadpool brings up during this is that this life seed can kill an apocalypse. And so it brings up this question of like, oh wait, have we all decided that we're just going to kill Warren Worthington? Which of course is one of the themes of this entire series of like, when is it appropriate to kill something and when is it not, and struggling with that concept. And of course, when Deadpool asks that, very important question, Wolverine and Betsy just kind of look at each other like,
yeah, like, so the plan is they're going to send some people to go grab the seed, and they're going to send some people to go fight back, basically, figure out how to get these doppelgangers back, or get our team back. And the way they're going to do that is go to a jail where Gateway can do it. They're going to go find Gateway. He's able to zap people through dimensions.
Yes.
So we got a split up team. Phantom X on the team to go get the seed. Jean Grey leading the team to go get Gateway.
Yep. Jean Grey leaves, and Wolverine notes that like the differences in his gene and this gene are starting to shine through. Like this one's tough as nails, takes no bullshit.
Yep.
And this is where he's introduced to Karika, who is Mariko's daughter, and he kind of instantly recognizes her, and she confirms like, oh, this alternate Wolverine was definitely her dad. So he's able to see like what that relationship outcome would have happened if Xavier hadn't been there. If Xavier had been
if Xavier hadn't stopped him from having his love killed.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's real weird to see like the alternate child he could have had.
Yes.
Like this is literally the DNA that this is what the kid would have been. Just a bonkers kind of thing to have to deal with. And he's losing it over this. We cut over to Phantom X following Psylocke out there and basically saying, let's stop dancing around this. Like, you're avoiding me, you're yelling at me, you're being rude about this. And she's like, of course I am. And he's like, oh, really? Are we still going to keep pretending this? You fucked up. Archangel was under your care. Like, we had this guy who is going to turn into this world destroying threat, and you kept assuring us that he was in therapy enough to be fine. We're trying to undo your mess.
Yes.
There. And she fights back, you're being insensitive. He's a man I love. And he's like, you didn't love him, you loved helping him. Like you loved having an animal in your care, basically.
Yes. And this infuriates her, obviously, and she lashes out. She yells at him. She punches him in the face, knocks him down, which almost immediately then gets turned into a little makeout session. And then she pushes him off, and it's like, no, I'm not going to give up on Warren. So obviously she's very conflicted. Whether or not Phantom X is like reading the situation right, it seems to me like there's definitely like some chemistry between them, and Phantom X is definitely like purposely playing on that, but whether or not Betsy is actually feeling any of this stuff is kind of like maybe not, but she's more focused on her boyfriend and the team leader turning into a fucking apocalypse than making out in the back of a fucking secret Atlantis club.
It's a real kissy issue.
It's a lot of kissing
as everyone is confronted with alternate reality versions of this. So they head off on the different teams. Head out.
Yep.
There. Wolverine starts kind of being a dad, to Karika there. Like she's doing her wrist wrapping is too tight.
Yes.
I'll help. And they're just reminiscing. until eventually Silver Samurai says, shut up. We're there. We got to go. Magneto had his spine crushed at some point, so he's wheelchair bound, but he's going to hang out inside the Sentinel they reprogrammed to make it seem like they're a guard. And Silver Samurai is going to hang out and guard him while they go in and do the jailbreak.
This is why I got a little confused, because I thought this was Age of Apocalypse. Who is the kid that has the toy Sentinel buddy?
Justin.
Yeah, for some reason, I was like, man, they really fuck Justin up in this.
He glowed up.
And don't get me wrong, they fucked Silver Samurai up in this a whole lot too. It's not he didn't get treated very well in either, but
no,
yeah, it's something else. And this is all to the good. This is all just, typical kind of X-Men stuff as they teleport down. Jean fills us in, there's no guards here because this entire prison is a master mold Sentinel. There's no need for guards in this. Nobody would be dumb enough to come here to get anybody.
Yeah. Wolverine starts thinking he can have his cake and eat it too. He's like, hey, if we pull this off, come back with us. There's really no reason for you to stay in the Age of Apocalypse. We're down one, Jean.
Yeah.
Come back with us. I'm not getting along with Cyclops right now. He won't be around for a bit. And she's tempted by this, but they get interrupted by Age of Apocalypse Blob ground pounding them.
I would have loved to have Jean be like, who that would probably bother, even though you don't have any genes in a gene in your universe right now, all of the weird genes that are in your universe right now. I think y'all have got 2 or 3 just out there that I don't think I need to really fuck around with at all.
Make this more complicated. Yeah. I can't remember if Blob was part of Age of Apocalypse or if he's always been this guy.
I don't remember either. And it's been it wasn't that long ago that we read that. I feel like he was, but I don't remember him being a part of the Black Legion.
He was undoubtedly just part of just another team.
Yeah.
He was part of the Black Riders or something and got killed in 2 panels because that's what Age of Apocalypse did. He's here with his team of mashup characters.
Somebody call Girl Talk. We got a bunch of mashups on the scene, man.
Yeah.
I love all of these so much. I think it's only because we don't have them for more than 5 panels, right? There's no depth to this at all. So you just see stuff like Grim Chamber, which is just
which is the Thing, but with chamber powers. Why not?
Yeah, sure.
Why not?
White Cloak, which for all the world looks like Cable, but in the fucking cloak.
Yeah, a Cloak and Dagger. I love Iron Ghost, which is Iron Man with a Ghost Rider flaming skull. Orange Hulk. That's a very funny joke.
Yeah, Zombie Sentry, which is basically every time I read anything about Sentry, he's this all-powerful guy who's just having a bad time being a zombie anyway. So that really fits for me.
Basically. Yeah. I don't know who all of these, if they're meant to be. There's Manphibian.
Yeah.
I don't know if Manphibian something. But basically, it's just a real miscellaneous crew.
The Beta Red joke is also very good.
Beta Red is great.
The idea that they went through the entire alphabet, very funny to me.
Yeah. Nightcrawler's this is serious business. We cannot fight them. We have to run.
Yeah.
There's no doing this. And Wolverine picks up another scent. He's this can't be. And turns out the scent is himself. We get Age of Apocalypse Wolverine missing his hand, replaced with a Mega Man blaster in Apocalypse armor.
Yes.
And he just destroys Karaka.
Yes.
Meltzer.
And he's also got Gateway set up, not quite crucified, but almost crucified. Not dead, but definitely hanging up a little bit.
Spiked to the wall.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's all apocalypsed up. The drawing on this, I don't like this design at all. First, I think the A on his belt should be W. I think, or at least AW or WA or something like that. That I don't like just
A and W, and then a little picture of root beer.
Yeah, a little root beer. And then we can have a bunch of green soda jokes from Deadpool. But the way this is drawn makes it look like his blaster. It makes it look like, I know his hand got cut off, so this should be the end of his hand. It should be like a Samus Aran from Metroid kind of setup. But it makes it look like his arm got cut off, and that he's just this is just coming out. This is just his upper arm length blaster coming out of his shoulder. You know what I'm saying? It just looks real.
It's cut off at the elbow.
Yeah, it looks real stumpy, and it's very funny to me. The fact that it'd be this real tiny blaster, and it's not, but it's just the way that this drawing looks.
It's foreshortened in a weird way. It's not a good design.
No,
they just need to really signal that he was Apocalypse pilled.
Yes.
But it's not a good design. Luckily, we're not going to hang out with this guy that long.
No,
Which I like.
longer than we hung out with Kiriko, who is now murdered on the bottom of this panel and hardly ever mentioned again.
Yeah, who has gotten dissolved, and Wolverine gets over that pretty quick.
I mean, he didn't know her.
Yeah, he's just like they'll always have the moment where he told her to wrap up her wrist tighter, or less tight. I can't remember.
Yes.
We go into the next issue, issue 13. The cover with this Dark Wolverine strangling Jean Grey, with our X-Force team kind of hypnotized in the background.
Yes.
Floating there, really washed out. Looks really cool. And we get into it. We don't pick up there. We don't pick up with the cliffhanger. We pick up on the Seed team.
Would hate to be called the Seed team. I do not like that.
Final Fantasy VIII, get fucked. Seed team can go to hell.
So this is Phantom X's team of Rogue, Sunfire, Gambit, basically fighting off a bunch of weird Celestials in order to get to the big Celestial that has the life seeds in it. I love Phantom X just clowning Gambit, being like, you should probably try using bullets and not fucking playing cards
instead of cards. I'm sure that was cute.
Yeah.
It's very funny. Look at me, I'm such a roguish anti-hero.
But this is not going well.
I'd wager you have an 8-ball tattooed somewhere. That's the most brutal burn that anyone's ever done to Gambit.
Absolutely brutal, man. This is just so fucking devastating. I hate it.
The meanest thing you could ever say to somebody. And one of the meanest things you can do to yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. One of the worst tattoos ever. Let me see. Hold on. I found out that we have like 1.3% of our listeners in Germany. So let me see what percentage of those have 8-ball tattoos. Oh, weird. We don't keep track of that. I need to contact our podcast host. We don't have that.
We'll have to do another listener survey.
Patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv.
Tell us your secrets.
This is not going well, and Eva is injured on the way there, and they're basically going to crash. So Phantom X is like, hey, if you can crash us like next to the seeds, maybe? That would be helpful. I'll be honest with you, this section, this is fine, but when we talked about like all the gobbledygook from earlier, I could barely understand what they were doing or fighting at any given time in this section. I don't care. Like
the Celestials are confusing.
Yeah.
It's it's not the clearest thing. Basically, this is, narration from Phantom X talking about how how I get wrapped up with these X people and knowing what's going on. Like, Gambit and Rogue have these affections for each other. They're going to spill their guts, because they think they're going to die. Here they start to do it and then they wait. Here he's basically just calling everything. We're in Phantom X's head now.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And they're fighting him off. Again, it's not going well, but they're fighting them off. I love Gambit trying to get back. He's like, some sort of control panel down here, and Gambit says, your French accent, it's fake. He's like, yeah, the virtual France I was raised in had imperfect programming. I'm more dignified than your mutt Creole.
Ouch.
Just absolutely hates Gambit so much.
Don't blame him.
He doesn't even know him at all.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know the real Gambit. He's just like, fuck this guy.
Meanwhile, Sunfire and Rogue are basically just fighting their way through. And Phantom X makes the discovery that this technology, the celestial technology, which should be totally unfamiliar with them, is actually pretty similar to some stuff he used in the world, which seems kind of like a coincidence that we should explore later. Yeah,
that's no good. Gambit is going to sacrifice himself so they can make their escape.
Yes.
With the seed. We get a cool panel of him doing 52 card pickup, basically. Throwing all of his cards out at once, killing Age of Apocalypse Gambit.
And everybody's very sad about it. Rogue is like, oh my God. Sunfire's like, that should have been me. Why did we leave him? And then we're going to move on because these characters don't matter. They're in another universe. We don't care about any of them. So
it's all fine.
Yeah, we can bring them back or kill them as we need at any point in time. It does not matter.
Yeah. I think this is when they grab the thing. They reveal that there's only one life seed.
Yes, during this section. We only find one.
Yep. So they need two, one to fight this universe's apocalypse, one to fight our universe's apocalypse, but they're only going to have one.
We switch over to the sky, which is where Wolverine is fighting Wolverine Apocalypse. Our Wolverine has seen the death of the daughter that he's known for approximately 20 minutes and has become feral. He goes berserk and he starts slashing at everybody. And our X-Men team, or Jean Grey's X-Men team, starts fighting the Black Legion, which is like a lot of blob biting people and pulling their arms off and stuff like that. And it's exciting because like you just don't know what's going to happen, because any of these characters could die at any point, and it's fun. So
yeah, there's a bunch of goof troops.
Yep.
Here. The Dark Wolverine, the Apocalypse Wolverine here, is basically saying like, not Apocalypse, I'm beyond it. Like, leave or I'm gonna have to kill you. He's not just saying like, he's not mustache twirling.
Yes.
Here. And that's going to be the common thread between this guy and Archangel when Archangel gets Apocalypse pilled. Like, they're undeniably evil. They're doing evil things, but we're a far cry from 1996, death to the puny humans, that kind of shit. That they're trying not to do that.
Yes. We get a lot more fighting. Blob is tearing some shit up. Wolverines are fighting one another. Nightcrawler is there. The Sentinels are coming after both Magneto and the Silver Samurai, because they've started to realize like, oh, these are the powers are failing. They're turning. Magneto can't control them anymore. And that's when Jean Grey shows up, and Jean Grey confronts her ex-husband, and he kind of defends all of this stuff, right? Like, oh, hey, and we've seen a lot of this play out. Of hey, I chose the Celestials because they were going to, that they were going to destroy the Earth otherwise, so they wanted me to clear everybody out. So like, this is not good and evil. That's a man-made concept. Like, this is just a fucking natural cosmic order, and this is what I had to do. And she's like, that sucks, and you suck. I don't like any of that stuff. So,
humanity was not intended to be the final stage.
Yes.
And this is stuff Phoenix says, depending on when it is, like who's in control, right? Like the Celestials and the Phoenix, they'll bring this up later, but they don't have totally different goals here. Wolverine says like, hey, what if we got together? With the power of the Phoenix, we could rebuild. We're going to wipe the slate clean. Yeah, that's going to be painful, but life will continue. The world will continue. And what if we did it together? You can save your friends, we can end the war, and we'll be together. And she's tempted by it for a minute, but she eventually rejects it.
You know why? Do you know what her ultimate decision was?
Why is that?
The belt. I mean, there's no way that a woman can just be with that. I mean, like, if I tried to walk out if I tried to walk out of my house with that belt on, Autumn would be like, no, I'm sorry. You're
well, first of all, it'd be her belt. Like, she gets to wear the gigantic.
That would be one of the problems. Yeah, she's one of the few people that can wear the A belt. I've told you that she started doing like Western dressage stuff, horse-wise. So like when she wins competitions now, she gets like big fancy belt buckles and stuff. So like my whole vibe of this chick is like she's wearing Wranglers and wearing belt buckles, and I'm like, I gotta readjust. I gotta fall in love all over again.
You gotta go back to Western wear.
Oh man, just when I thought I was out. She ultimately says no, where she's not going to do this, and she blasts him with Phoenix energy, which does not affect him, and he just smacks her in the face with the blaster, with the mega blaster,
which makes a twud sound effect.
It's like a Tweety twud.
And again, he's not malicious. He says the rest of you, he's like, you don't matter. Like, you can either be part of this new world or die with the old, but I'm not just going to kill you because this doesn't matter.
Yep.
Really weirdly, Wolverine comes back to this Dark Wolverine, Apocalypse Wolverine comes back, and his version of Ozymandias is Storm.
Or it's Aurorius? How do you pronounce this? This is an awful word that has only ever been written. It's never been said out loud. Aurorius?
Yeah. Aurorius. I don't know how this happened.
Yeah.
Because Storm was an X-Man back in the Age of Apocalypse. Who knows? Right?
Yeah.
Like, she got convinced as well. I didn't realize it was the same person. It looked like her, but I just assumed this was like another Greek mythology thing.
Sure. Yeah.
Until later they actually say that
specifically say Storm. Yeah. He wants her to ready the Death Sea. Now that he has his bride, he's ready to destroy the world. But our team of X-Men still have a bunch of like random 5-panel issue characters to kill, so we're going to do some of that. Iceman is going to disappear. He's like, I'm out of here. Like, all right, well, see you later. Yeah. We'll catch up with you in the Iceman standalone miniseries, I guess. This will
have consequences soon.
Yes.
He's basically saying this is, Wolverine's like, just come back with us, and Iceman's like, this was not part of the deal, and this was lopsided anyway. We got to take care of our own, and we're risking a lot to help these assholes, there's Psylocke takes control of the Blob, and he's like, "Oh, what? I'm not in control of my body. What's going to happen?" And she just makes him jump out of the building, which I like.
Very fitting
like,
in for Blob. I love it.
Yeah, very good. Wolverine's trying to get them to stop. Like, they're fighting all these, kooky creeps. It's like, this isn't our fight. Like, get out of here. Stop doing this. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, you guys are fighting mobs. It's time to go for the boss. Let's get after it.
Yep.
Yep. So they grab Gateway. And they're teleported over to Dark Wolverine, who has Jean laid out on a table. I assumed that he was going to take her with him, but no, he's got the Dark Seed. Looks like he's going to stab her with the Dark Seed, utilizing the Dark Seed and the Phoenix power to completely rebuild the world. As Storm just kind of chills. And as our team attacks, we get narration from Dark Wolverine, basically saying that he is one step ahead of everybody, and we see him just completely murderizing the team. Like, he's so good at being what he is that he can predict where Kirk's going to teleport to and slices him in half, and he blasts Deadpool in the face, and he's able to distract Wolverine with Jean and then get him from behind. It looks like he just blows Wolverine in half, and that's a very vicious thing to do.
Yeah, it's all fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
They lose. However, this was a misdirection. A lot of this. They look back at the table. Jean's not there. Wolverine goes, "Where, wife? Where's my wife?
Where's my wife?"
And Herodias is like, "I revived her and she was gone. I'll scan the base." And then Dark Wolverine just cold clocks Stone Storm, this Golem Storm in the jaw, and breaks her jaw off.
Yes.
Pretty fucked up. And this is they escape. Like, Gateway gets them out. This is all, again, the misdirection. OP nerf misdirection.
Yes,
there.
Absolutely. And as they escape out, Betsy's like, what are you doing? Like, we have a life seed, just use it. And he's like, we only have one, so if we use it, then we're not gonna be able to save Warren. And of course it's a huge problem. Meanwhile, Wolverine doubles down and is like, hey Jean, I've got a condo in New York, which you guys probably don't know this, but that's a expensive kind of situation right now. Like, the real estate prices have really gone crazy. So you should come hang. You should come hang in our New York.
Join us.
Yeah. Hang out with us. And she's of course kind of not having this.
Yeah. She basically says, no, go through the, you take the seed, save your world. I'm not going to allow my husband, this world he created. I'm partially responsible for this. Or at the very least, I'm not going to let him do this.
Yes.
Wolverine's like, I'm not going to abandon you again. And she says, you're not abandoning me. I'm not your Jean. I'm his Jean.
Yeah.
I am the partner to this absolutely dark asshole Wolverine, and sends them through with the life seed.
Yep.
We don't know what's going to happen to them. They're going to come back in this arc, but we don't know. They all get teleported back and this was for nothing. But however, while they were gone, Dark Beast has been busy. He gathered Archangel's horsemen, new and old, and basically said, we'll be taking that life seed.
It's
now.
I love this panel at the bottom where Warren's forces arrayed against our team, who've just coming back bedraggled from a war that it was mentally reeling from seeing dead friends and family and all of this stuff. But it really looks like, for all of the world, that Warren's team was just gathered around Cyclops's Henchman 24 outfit and just clowning it constantly until they showed up.
Yeah. They're next to a guy that we're going to see later in this crossover, who has a little name plaque, who I think he's just a character Rick Remender made up.
Mm-hmm.
And when we get to it, I'm going to call it out. I meant to Google it and see if he's a real guy, but it's real fucking goofy.
Okay, I'm into it.
Yeah. I love the X Museum so much. Best X-Men base.
Easily the best X-Men base.
Yeah.
This is going to take us to... Oops, I'm on issue 13 somehow. How did I get here? Issue 14.
That's what... issue 14.
Do.
Again, incredible cover. It's just the Horsemen plus Holocaust plus Dark Beast. But this we're back to Pena doing the art. And this is the dude who I really like.
God, this is so fucking cool.
Who draws the
dude, like
it's my favorite comic book artist. Like I forget about this dude, but he's phenomenal.
He is absolutely amazing, and I love how weird genocide is in every panel.
Yeah,
like just you would think for like a flaming skull and a biohazard suit it'd be like over the top, but like he's just like the fact that he just seems to stand everywhere makes it even worse. It makes it even cooler.
The way he's written, like he's Baby.
Yeah, exactly.
In this version, because we've only seen him in. As far as I know, only in the Age of Apocalypse. He was raised as a horseman, and it was 1996, so he's just a mustache twirling villain.
Mm-hmm.
Here he's a kid. It's a much braver kind of choice for him. I really like what they do with him.
Yeah,
it's great, and I love this crew. I love this version of the Horsemen. Pairing them with Dark Beast makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of his people from the other world. Like it's just all good shit.
And
Jerome Pena again, Viva.
We're gonna, seriously, I gotta go look up all of this stuff, all of this dude stuff. We're gonna start out at the North Pole, the day before all of the events from the stuff that we just described, where Dark Beast has met up with Warren, and they have plans. He is there to help Warren become the Apocalypse. He was unsure if it would be possible. But of course Apocalypse is, and this is where Warren says, no, look, I'm not coming back as Apocalypse. I am coming out as as Archangel, and we're going to start the Age of Archangel. And as they descend into this cavern, which is where their base is, this like glowing, weird, gemmed place underneath the surface of the North Pole.
Chauffeur Riverwell.
Yeah. It's very strange. They're going into the inner sanctum as Warren is kind of saying like, hey, I don't want, don't call me Lord. I don't want any of this stuff. This is a whole new era. Like, don't just lie to me and tell me that everything I'm doing good. You were responsible for getting me here. The only thing that you owe me is honest impressions as we move forward.
Yeah.
Like, tell me what you're thinking.
He's trying to kind of signal that like under Warren's kind of temperance, this will be the same end goal as Apocalypse. The Celestials want this. They want to destroy all life on Earth and start over, but his whole plan is to skip the Age of Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
Like skip the callings, skip all the stuff that old shitty Apocalypse reveled in. No period of darkness, no time slowly hunting and slaughtering humanity. We're just going to skip that and go right to Utopia. It's gonna be quick and painless, and then we're gonna be in the real world.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna be worshipped. I'm not gonna do, have these lieutenants and horsemen and these religious ceremonies. Don't want it. Don't need it.
Yep.
It's cool. Like it makes him a more interesting villain.
Agreed. Yeah. It just not because it's not like I think you mentioned earlier, not so mustache twirly, right? Like it's like, oh, like he's got a plan. Like he seems to be doing this. Seems to be moving forward this with like some thought and not just like kill everything. We meet up with a character I don't remember at all, Autumn Wolfson, who is apparently the.
Oh, this is Old Famine.
This is Old Famine. Okay, well,
this is the famine that made Jean Grey hungry, so she ate a bunch of hot dogs off the ground.
Excellent. Now I'm with you.
Yeah.
I didn't know her name was. I do remember her name was Autumn. Now I think we talked about that because of obvious reasons.
Yeah. I don't even know if they gave her a last name.
Probably
then.
not. No.
But the idea that the old horsemen have still been hanging around, and not only that, but this one has gotten Bragante at some point and had a baby. This is where Holocaust came from.
Yes.
Apocalypse's son before he died. She's been hiding him because she thought Apocalypse would see him as a threat.
Mm-hmm.
But
no longer, because Archangel is like, we're gonna use this dude. You're gonna be instrumental in my plans, and that's when we zip back over to Cavern X, where we're facing off with our team, who again have just teleported in from Age of Apocalypse, and Warren definitely thinks that he has the upper hand here. Like he's pretty confident, and it's confirmed when we see, this is what you alluded to earlier, we see Phantom X trying to use his misinformation power to basically just trick everybody, and it does not work. He starts like laying this out verbally, and they just completely reject it to a point where it starts echoing between his two brains and fucks him up a lot.
Yeah, you have what you want. You've already got the life seed. We're so defeated, and Frazzle will never counterattack.
Yes,
like I really like that he just holds his hand out and talks, and that's how the power works.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, it zaps him, so it doesn't work. Wolverine goes to attack him. I love him just being like, I haven't used any incendiary language. Why escalate things? Again, it's all business.
Yeah.
He attacks Archangel, and Holocaust tears off half of Wolverine down to the skeleton.
Yeah, that's pretty vicious.
Yep. It's one of those real big hits he takes every once in a while.
Yeah, and it's awesome to look at. Like, it's just a really cool, and like he falls down smoking, and they're worried because, like, you know, this is probably more than he can recover from. Like he's going to take a lot to recover for it. Archangel orders Famine to knock out Deadpool, who just collapses, being super thin. Phantom X is able to crawl over to Archangel and manages to get some quips off and like, oh hey, your tailor forgot to armor up the toe of your boot, and then just stabs him in the foot.
What? I'm trying to cause him foot pain. This pisses him off.
Yeah.
So they start fighting. War starts going at Psylocke, and Psylocke's, I'm glad you are no longer infatuated with me. I'm going to remove all lingering doubt. Cuts his Achilles tendon.
Yes.
There to make him fall down on Famine.
Yes.
The little drummer boy, he goes, Tarnation, and then gets crushed. It's great.
Then she's able to disarm Dark Beast almost literally by cutting like the tendons in his shoulder, because he's going to attack with his right hand. She's like kind of figuring out how they're going to attack and knocking them out one by one. Meanwhile, and the reason I love the Phantom X stabbing Archangel in the foot so much is because like we see him trying to maintain this like cool, calm, I'm the most reasonable guy in the room. All of you guys are overreacting. You're being weird. Why are you doing this kind of situation? And then but with Phantom X, he slowly loses that, right? Because and he talks about this of like this so-called competition between us, the leers at Betsy, the snide remarks, like you were the only one participating in that. You didn't matter to any of us. I'm like, yeah. Really? Is that why you're putting likes on tweets now, my bud? Is that what's happening? is that why you're putting views on tweets? Is that you just don't care? Is that what? Okay, cool.
You're still seeming extremely divorced, Archangel.
Exactly. Yeah.
Psylocke gets a chance. She has one chance to kill him, and she throws her knife through him, but she misses his heart.
Yes.
On purpose. She can't do it. And this is the thing. Archangel's like, spare her. She's important. He wants to, everyone else is killable, but he has to live. They manage to just barely get away through Deadpool throwing a smoke bomb to escape in the smoke. Absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
Deadpool is carrying Deathlock, who got beat the shit out of while he was trying to guard the world. And Psylocke is dragging Phantom X. Or Deadpool has Wolverine.
Yeah.
Deathlock's going to go as well. He's just not pictured here.
I do love the idea that just a standard issue smoke bomb, like a military issue.
Like, what do we do?
Here's a smoke bomb. Extremely funny to me. Yeah.
I'm distracted. I've achieved the dazed condition.
They all pile onto Eva, ready to get the fuck out of there, to get evacuated. They get everybody situated, and Betsy makes the not particularly surprising move to jump out of Eva and lands in front of Warren and says, I'm not giving up on you. Like she got her team out, but she is there she knows that her responsibility is to save Warren, and not to get Warren out or get Archangel out of control of Warren's body.
There's a lot of depth character stuff happening here because she has to prove to herself that she loves him.
Yes.
Largely because Phantom X challenged it. Like she'd be doing this, in some way, shape or form anyway, but she's doubling down. Like she's extra desperate, in part because it's been questioned. She's there's a contrarianness to this edge. Like, I will not give up on you. I have to prove that you are the person. And the ending that actually gets in there, and this is really touching and good.
Yes, agreed.
They're in the ship. They're in Eva, waiting for Wolverine to heal. He's really, absolutely torn up. Phantom X is like, I'm going to quit. You guys should just call Scott Summers, call the Avengers. And Deadpool points out, oh yeah, we'll call the Avengers. It's a robot, an assassin from the future. And we're going to tell them this really crazy story. And the only person who could, verify it is Wolverine, and he's on a table.
Yep. Almost.
He's half incinerated.
So they are on their own. And of course, this is the point where we switch back over to Warren and his underground hideout in the North Pole, and he's kind of pontificating towards Psylocke, who, you know, his typical like, I've evolved, I've grown so much. She's like, yeah, I've heard someone else say that relatively recently, and he was turned out to be super evil. And of course, Warren's like, oh, well, that's just a subjective concept. And I'm like,
yeah, I mean, kinda. You're gonna kill a lot of people here in a minute, bud.
yeah.
You know, she's just trying to get through to him. You know, trying to get through to the real Warren Worthington. You know, well, we've been trying to save you, and he's like, this isn't a mistake. There's nothing to save. This is evolution.
Yes.
You know, our world has been distorted, like the one you just came from. Natural course has been interfered with. I have to rectify that. You know, Wanda Maximoff said, no more mutants. That devastated us. In that moment, natural and evolution that was intended for this world was shattered. All I'm doing is fixing it.
Yep.
You know,
and he gets a phone call from McCoy, who is all set to meet at the Tabula Rosa site. And this is when Archangel is like, hey, you'll understand what all of this is about. I'm going to fly out and leave you behind. And then we cut to wherever this site is, where Archangel is carrying Genocide to this town in the middle of it, drops him there. And we see like the citizens of this town. There's just random people. It's like, oh, you guys are superheroes. You look like superheroes. And Archangel says, I used to be, but the idea no longer holds meaning to me. And this poor teenager is just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dope.
He says, like, go home and tell your mother that you love her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the kid's like, don't worry, they're superheroes, as Genocide then blows up the entire town.
Yep.
And kills 3,000 people.
Oh.
Yeah, it's no good.
The art on this, I think, is really, really great. Just the way that the pages kind of track with each other, where we see all of the violence up top, and then we see like Betsy at the bottom, like arriving to, you know, obviously Warren's or Archangel's like kind of central quarters, and then like sitting down in the dark, just like realizing what he has done is really good. And then of course we get the page where Archangel is just watching from above the destruction, and then seeing people like around react to this. Like we see Dark Beast looking at the life seed, we see Betsy just devastated, we see Wolverine laid out on the table, and that's where we end the issue.
It's a dark fucking moment. You know, it's like in Walk Hard, this is a dark fucking time period.
This is a dark time period, my man.
Or a dark fucking period of my life. But it's all going to turn out okay, because superheroes is going to do fun stuff.
Yeah. But along the way is super fun. Like this has all been it's so good. Like you just like it's really, I think you said you finished the saga already. Like you couldn't like I couldn't.
I did it last night. I didn't want to stop.
I didn't have time to do that today, but I was like, I'm glad I waited to the last minute to read these, because otherwise I would be breezing on through. So I'm excited to read the next one, even though I've already read all these before. Like it's still super fun to read. So
same. Yeah, I really like the storyline.
Yeah, really good.
You know, Viva Rick Remender. I like this guy a lot.
Don't let him go to DC and pull a rock. No, but nobody wants that.
Yeah. see if he can finally do something cool with some of those characters. I really like this heady, weird, trippy shit.
Me too. Yeah,
and I love this crew. I love this crew of horsemen so much. They're so weird. Really, really good. The final horsemen are great.
And as weird as this is, like the series gets weirder and weirder and weirder as it goes. Like it continues to deliver, almost to the point where I'm like reading an issue, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. Like,
so I think I said this when we first started covering this. A lot of people, when they sold me on Wolverine and the X-Men, was like, oh, it's the follow up to Grant Morrison's X-Men, because it's the school and everything, and it is like wacky, but it's so funny. Like it's so lighthearted. And I never really got that sense from Grant Morrison's X-Men. This feels more of a follow-up to me. It is dealing with the big, going through the big X-Men concepts, like these alternate worlds, Apocalypse, kind of playing the hits. And it has that surrealness that the Grant Morrison X-Men has. Like this sound is a living cancer is not that different than Sublime as a living virus, or like a sentient bacteria, that kind of thing.
It's good shit. It's
very good.
It's very good. Yeah. And I'll, just how weird is it that we just kind of ass backwards our way into, Age of Apocalypse and then Archangel and then all this stuff, just kind of boop, 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 just knocked it out.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
I mean, we're following the X-Men threads we're interested in.
Yeah.
Like there's another way we could have been, if we had followed from Messiah Complex, we could have ended up in like the Shi'ar War.
Yes.
Or some bullshit. Like, we just decided to follow the better stuff. So, and I'm happy about it.
Me too. If you're happy about it, you should show us that you're happy by going to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and donating some money to us every month. Doing that will get you all kinds of cool stuff. Hours and hours and hours, like literally thousands of hours of exclusive content, like talk about movies and video games and all kinds of crazy shit. So you should do it for that just by itself. Like it is such a great value just in terms of putting a cash into a machine and getting content on the other side. Like it's insane.
I think so. Thanks everybody who donated and watched Duckstream.
Yeah.
The first time we're recording since then. This episode comes out on Christmas Eve. So if you celebrate, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you don't, we're here for you. Come, well, you can't talk to Gary on Twitter anymore. You can slip into my DMs if you're lonely on Christmas though, and I'll answer. I'll be cooking food all day and probably drinking. So, I'll be definitely willing to answer questions.
It's like surly Uncle Jeremy will be ready to to give you dating advice.
Answer number 1, fuck off. Answer number 2, tell me more.
Yeah. So Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrates. Otherwise, have a happy and safe New Year's, please.
Absolutely.
And and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.